Petition.
Who's my guest? And should be guest, capital G. And then the lower little letters, LUEST, 34677. Well, I have found that Bluetooth, when you have a lot of people in a room, gets a little challenging. Doing it?
Hey, Kevin. Hi, Steve.
You want to dust off the stand-up routine?
Soften them up.
Let me call the Tuesday, July 20th, 2021 meeting of the Oldsmar City Council to order. The next two items on the agenda are the invocation and pledge of allegiance, which will be led by our city attorney, Mr. Tom Trask. Before we begin the invocation, I'm going to ask the council for a moment of silent and prayer while we recognize that Friday was the unfortunate 10-year anniversary of the loss of Corporal Frank Gross, who gave his life for our country, a local kid here. And so just let's give him a moment and think of him and his family. Hey, Tom.
Thank you. Heavenly Father, thank you for the men and women who serve this community. Please remind our leaders each day why they decided to dedicate their lives to public service and use that commitment to encourage them. Give them peace when their work takes them away from their families. We also ask that you give them wisdom on how to best support one another in their deliberations. In this we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Before we get started here, just a couple of things. I want to thank the folks over at Mission Barbecue. I don't know if you're familiar with their organization, but they do a lot of stuff for patriots, and they sent barbecue here. That's why it smells so good in here. So if you haven't eaten, we apologize, but there's probably some left if you want to go back. Also, you'll notice that Councilmember Gannon is out tonight, and she's actually, her absence is on the agenda to be approved a little bit later. Let me, before I open the Citizens Open Forum, show of hands, how many people are here to speak about the woods? Okay, all right. So here's what I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask that we let those who want to speak in the Citizens Open Forum who are not related to woods, let's get them kind of through first, because there's probably not many, and then we'll go on to the woods if that's okay with y'all. All right, so anybody on this side of the room who wishes to speak? Pam? Ginger?
Hello, Ginger Tadazeski, 303 Park Boulevard. I know you all got my email. I appreciate your answers from those of you that answered me. Just want to make a public request that about relating to City Center, that we seriously think about having a town hall meeting. There's just a lot of people that don't really know what's going on. You may not think that's the best way to handle it. I don't know if it is, but I don't know of another way to let people know if you walk down the street some people know, some people don't, some people know the wrong thing, and it's just creating a lot of confusion. So this is my request that you guys think about having a town hall meeting. That's it, thanks.
Thank you.
Hello, Pamela Settle, 439 Lakeview Drive. This is hard tonight for me to say this. You know, as I campaigned for city council, one theme continued to pop up, and that was that the citizens of Oldsmar don't feel like that the city listens to them and that they don't value their opinion. I heard this from business owners, from property owners, developers, and citizens from all over the city. I had one young woman who was born and raised here ask me, how do I know when they're running for mayor? I've never heard about a mayor's race before. And she was young, and she was asking about the last election, and I said, well, there wasn't a last election. The mayor ran unopposed, so you didn't have the opportunity to talk to mayoral candidates. I had another couple chase me down while I was out walking down Lafayette. They had just moved here, and they were shocked at how little information the city shares future plans with the residents. And it's this lack of transparency, and that's likely why in my private survey that the scores were low for how people judged the city leadership. I don't think that the residents of Oldsmar realize that other cities provide many more options for residents to become engaged, for there to be transparency in government, for residents to be able to weigh in on very important issues. And I think that this closed loop of decision-making we have between the city manager and the city council is causing problems for people in the community who see things moving forward and aren't having an opportunity to speak up. We have two big decisions. We have major developments that are happening in our CRA, and that stands for Community Redevelopment Agency, and that means community. And the citizens are our community, and that land is owned by the citizens. It is not owned by the city council. It is not owned by the city manager. The decision about that property needs to be open, it needs to be discussed, and citizens need to be able to weigh in on the future, because once we make that decision, the decision is final. We don't get to go back and make it right. And I think we've seen giving control to one owner of a large piece of that property doesn't always work out well. The planning board voted no unanimously on the town center development, but it's going to be on the next agenda anyway. And citizens need to come to the next city council meeting, and they need to ask questions, and they need to be heard. We also have to weigh in on the future of our city manager. I believe that's going to be discussed tonight. The city manager is a very important role, and the people need to be involved in the decision about the future of that position. I feel very strongly about this as a citizen of Oldsmar. I've lived here for 13 years. I've never been asked once to participate in any kind of town hall meeting about the future. That property has been open and not moving forward for a very long time. And I've heard it said that if we don't act now and if we don't vote on this now, we won't have another opportunity for 10 years to do something with that property. And I think that that's a sign of very unimaginative leadership. I don't think we take the first proposal. We wouldn't ask our daughter to take the first marriage proposal just to get the proposal if it's not the best thing for her future. We need to ask the hard questions and make the right decision on behalf of the people who own that property, and that's the people of Oldsmar. Thank you.
Is there anybody else on this side of the room? Right there.
How y'all doing?
Good.
My name's Sean Summerfield. I'm president of the North Pinellas Panthers, Pop Warner football and cheer organization. I wasn't expecting this many people, so bear with me. Not much of a public speaker, but I felt it urgent to come out and just say to council and to the people of Oldsmar, what an unbelievable city you guys have. We are proud to be members of proud to be a user group of your city, proud to be at the Oldsmar Sports Complex, proud to have Chip as our representative and the person that we deal with on a daily basis. 2020 was a rough year, especially if you run youth sports. And, you know, I was expecting Chip to block me on his phone, but he kept taking my calls. And between him and Alicia, we had a season, which saved us because a lot of organizations weren't able to. They weren't able to provide that for their kids. And now they're in trouble of even having a season this year because their kids went elsewhere. We were able to retain our kids. This year we have 157 football players coming, which is a record for the Panthers, which is unbelievable. Our cheer side has been building, and we had 40 last year. We're up to almost 70 this year, and still taking registrations. And throughout our partnership with the city, the Panthers have never achieved as many goals as we have. I mean, I couldn't bring our trophies out tonight because I'm the only one who came, and I can't carry them all. You know, we have been winning conferences, we've been winning leagues. We haven't made it to that national tournaments yet on the tackle end. But this year, I'm proud to say that on the Under Armour, Under the Lights flag that we present, we have 3 teams that are nationally ranked. 2 of them are in the top 10. One is number 6, one is number 5, going into the national tournament this weekend, which we're just overjoyed about. And that wouldn't happen without your facilities and without your leadership. I just can't say enough about everything that has been presented. It's like home. And for the Panthers, I've been with them 16 years. All I have is Panther clothes. And I put on my nice one tonight, and I also wore socks with slides. So, I mean, this is about as good as it gets from me. Remember, I'm with football primarily and cheer. For 16 years, I've been with this organization. And for 12 or 13 of those years, we didn't have a home. We traveled, you know, field to field. We played with rented lights and no concession stands, and we feel at home. And I just want to thank you all for providing us that opportunity, having people like Chip and Alicia on your staffs, because they are just unbelievable to work with. Their goals have been, and it's well seen, that they're out there for the kids of this community, and they want the best for them all. So again, I just wanted to thank everybody here. I think you all do a great job, and unbelievable city, and that's about it. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you. And thank you for what you do for all the kids. Sir.
Good evening, David Bear, though I'm not in the city limits. I reside at 8247 Hickston Drive in Port Richey, Florida. I'm the current commander for your local VFW post 12186. And with me is?
Dave McKinley, 445 Hickory Nut Avenue, Oldsmar here in Florida. Senior vice for our post here 12186.
And ultimately, it's that time of the year again where we give you a little status update. We just today received our All-American letter for the VFW again, 2nd year in a row, among a bunch of other items. But we wanted to just thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Manager, Council, all of you that have been with us from the beginning. So if Mr. Mayor and Mr. Manager, would you come on down, please? While they do that, our post was able to increase all of our numbers, our community service. We didn't quite double our membership as I promised last year, but we came close. Our hours of service, our money that we put back into the city, we've 150% of what we did last year. But we failed in mileage because of COVID. We couldn't go anywhere. But we also, this year, have a new challenge coin. So if you would. Appreciate it. Thank you. Important people to be inside. But on behalf of our post, the auxiliary, all of our members, and hopefully all of our future members who can see me after the meeting, we just appreciate everything you've done for us. Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right. This side of the room, non-Woods. There you go. Come on up, Jason.
Jump in line. Jason Sanders, Chairman of the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce. This is a little 101 State Street. A little impromptu, but hearing the concerns that Ms. Settle had, I wanted to go ahead and offer as well. I realize this is a public forum and some people might not feel comfortable coming and speaking at a public forum that's open to them. But if there is a space that they need to come and have the conversation to discuss some concerns, we at the Chamber would be happy to open up ourselves to you and get a room or whatever it is, compile those concerns and voice them, and maybe that would help communicate to the city a little bit.
Thank you, sir. All right. I see Little League shirt, so I'm guessing. You might be a little old to play, though. I don't know.
Wanted to come out. I'm Dave Beinart. I'm with Oldsmar Little League. I also resident 1810 Hibiscus Court South. We wanted to thank everybody for the continued support. You guys have been great. Opening day, I mean, everything that we've ever asked of you guys have come through and done. One thing I did want to say is we've got 2 girls here with us, and we've got one on video chat. The 3 girls went to and played at Countryside on the All-Stars team. We didn't have enough to form a full team, but those 3 girls did make it to state and win.
Wow.
And
Congratulations.
a lot of that.
Good job.
I'm Samira.
Hi.
I'm Ava.
And we have Hannah on video chat. And the reason that they were able to do that was the continued support that we get from you guys. Obviously from Chip and everybody at the sports complex. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say is thank you.
Well, you're welcome, and congratulations, ladies. Good job. Next, anybody else on this side of the room? Okay. Oh, we got one more? No, yes, no? All right, so let's move on to the area of the woods. Do you want to go first?
Can I go towards the end?
Excuse me?
I was thinking of going towards the end, if it makes sense.
Okay, so, yeah, it doesn't matter to me who goes first, but I do want to make a point of everybody knowing that our council meeting rules allow for 30 minutes of open forum at the beginning, and whatever's not done, we do at the end. We'll, if it's the pleasure of the council, we'll go longer than the 30, just to try to get more people in. So just kind of think about that strategically, okay? Very good, go ahead.
Kick it off for you guys. Put the ball into play.
Good evening, I'm Tyson Munson. I live at 510 Pinewood Drive, the lovely spot in the woods. I've been here since 2005, and it's unfortunate to hear that we don't have enough girls to do Oldsmar Little League anymore, because I coached my banner that's there as the AA, AAA champs for Oldsmar. So hopefully we can get that back. But unfortunately today, I guess that was one thing that the young lady said here is listening, because I believe the city attorney was not provided the right information with the decision that was made in our subdivision. I want to thank the folks that came by and stopped and saw with your own 2 eyes what we've been dealing with, because I was here in 2005, because I've never understood what the city walked away from and said that we own the drains. We own the drainage. I work with engineers. I work for one of the largest publicly or privately held infrastructure companies that builds towers, all kinds of stuff. I live in this location for 17 years, and you can have city attorney or city employees come and tell me that they know the system. Well, you don't know the system until you're walking it into the mud to your knees watching, because I'm watching my house that's about to get flooded. So you guys did me a favor today by making that decision with this permit, because you just opened Pandora's box from 1999, 2000, because there's newspaper articles where I'm surprised you haven't stopped the construction. I have video of the pumping that went on that wasn't stopped and that didn't go through the bag. You were pumping raw through. Because my question is the construction and who's overseeing the plans that should be submitted. Because if I build something, I have to submit a drainage plan, I have to submit construction drawings, and I have to follow certain criteria. I've not seen any of it go on. I saw them show up today because they dumped the dirt in the street. Well, that opens up bonds on the street. And I will tell you, at 76,000 pounds a load at 110 loads with lime rock, that is mush with the geotechs in the soils. Because if you want to get technical, let's get the soils, because nobody looked at any of this stuff. And it's key to factors of listening to your, nobody called us at the Woods of Forest Lakes, because this is the third time Mr. Kelly's attempted to backfill this so-called pond, because he misrepresented to the city and said, oh, Woods got a pond on my property. Well, let me tell you what happened, and it's in the article. When they went to build the subdivision, Christie, who is the owner of the property, and Rotland. Well, there was fire and pitchforks here, which stopped the permits on phase 2. Well, our subdivision, and let's remember how good our subdivision, when the boom of Oldsmar, was sold out. Do you think those 2 lots would have got left for, oh, some guy to buy them in 2004 on a fire sale and show up in 2021 and build? There's common sense that is being overlooked. And it's clear. I can give you the pieces to the puzzle, because when I was here in 2005, I sought legal advice. But I didn't have $30,000 to present to the city and show where the things that were missed, because listen, in construction, things happen. They're altered, the plans. You guys are looking at plans. You didn't even know about the URS engineering report that was done in the pro bono that me as a resident knows about. Where is the people running the construction in this company, in this city? Because if this was under Pinellas or Hillsborough County, well, I wouldn't be standing here. I can tell you that because of the process and procedure that's required. I can show you where they were violating pumping. They've altered our system. So now that permit can keep going as far as I'm concerned, because now when he backfills, it's mathematics. It's a boomerang system. I've worked next to engineers since I was 26 years old building cell sites. I'm no rocket scientist, but I've lived there for 17 years. I tried to tell everybody, but a city employee that calls the police on a resident, number one, is horrible, because our streets were flooding and she pulled it out and he called an officer out to the house. What kind of nonsense is this in our city? Because this used to be the little Oldsmar. And obviously with some oversight that's not being seen and new things that are not being presented, because the articles are here that shows 3 of the 4 things were fixed, because they did the pavilion, they did the tennis courts, and they did the, one of the other things, items that was left out, but the drainage did not get addressed. URS Engineering says in there, there's a fix from $15,000 to $100,000. What I'm here to say is that there is capital expenditure dollars that are out there. Our subdivision was built in 85, not 99. Those streets have been in there since 85. So these other ones that you're working on that are 85, maybe we can address this, but I will tell you, you fill that pond, you're raising the elevations. The owners that are back behind us now are gonna flood. You're gonna raise it. Where's the calculations and all the things that take this into effect? So I asked the city, they halt and review the actual evidence that is in front of them, that we've provided that they didn't have. And that's my time. Thank you.
I'm LJ Tucker, 518 Cypress Bend. As you just heard Mr. Tyson say, it's beyond believable to me that a contractor or anybody is able to get a permit to fill the pond. Today is our neighborhood. Tomorrow is your neighborhood, or maybe your neighborhood. When does it stop? Because what it seems like on the surface that we don't want to suggest is either somebody's not doing their job or they're being influenced by a third party. And I hate to believe any of it, but directly and indirectly, you have to come with some kind of conclusion after since 85 to 2001, you were able to come backfill a pond to build a house. Like Florida's been popping, not just this year, Florida's been a hot market for a long time. He said it earlier, no one's gonna not sell a piece of property with the opportunity to make a profit. That pond was put there for a reason, and it's to stop the heavy rains and the flooding. Like this is like my backyard drains to that pond. It's not draining as fast anymore, especially when we get those. I mean, my pool is overflowing during these high rains, and my kids are jumping like, "Daddy, look at all the water." I'm like, I'm wondering, hey, do I get sandbags now or what's going to happen? I've never seen it. As a business owner, I get to travel to different cities in the Bay Area, and on a situation like this that I've never seen in my 20 years of business, when they have something similar, there's a public hearing about a matter of something of this magnitude that's going to affect so many people. To be able, when I came down Pinewood, I seen the fountains 1, the fountains 2, and everybody has these beautiful ponds. When does it stop? When does it stop? Who's the next person, the contractor's going to show up and start backfilling their pond? Just something to think about. If it don't stop now, when?
Thank you. Next over here.
I'm Brandy Fetter. I live at 569 Lakewood Drive, Oldsmar, in the woods. I've lived there since 2000. I've witnessed everything that Tyson Munchen's mentioned and seen more than that. But I would compliment the city. They do have worked with us. I was on the board for 10 years. You did work with us and help us with some parts of this, not this section, but over along Forest. You had a crackerjack engineer that helped put some drainage over there, which stopped a problem over there. But the other part's never been addressed, so it continues on. I would like to, kind of ditto what everybody else is saying. I can't believe somebody would be able to get a permit to build and backfill a pond and build a house on it. I think that's just absolutely ridiculous. I was told back years ago when I worked with the city on this issue, because the guy came to us in 2013 and wanted the permission of the homeowners association to build in there. We said, no, that's a pond and it's a part of the drainage system. You can't build there. He disappeared somewhere. I don't know where he went, but apparently he's been working behind the scenes to try to get this done. So here he comes in 2021 and he's backfilling the pond. We told him no at that time, and we thought it was over with. So I approached the city, and I talked to a number of people, and they said, there's no way the guy will get a permit because it's underwater. That's what I was told. And of course, all of the faces have changed since then, and probably things have been forgotten. But I took you at your word at that time, that you wouldn't let this happen. Well, it's happened. So I would just ask you to try to help us get this reversed, and so that we don't have to go out our front doors after another hurricane comes through and step through deep water in our yards.
Thank you.
I have some PowerPoints handout. Would you like?
Sure.
Please. I'll take them. Oh, thank you. Oh, you know. My name is David McGee, and I reside at 541 Lakewood Drive in Oldsmar in the city, in the Woods of the Forest Lake subdivision. Mr. Mayor, members of City Council, I come before you to discuss the draining of rainwater that has recently backed up into my backyard as a result of partial filling in of the retention pond at the end of Pinewood Drive and the continued drainage problems for our neighborhood. There's a little history to the problem. I bought my house in 2000. I'm the original owner. When I bought the house, it was a greenfield site. I realized that there was a drain and a ditch in the rear of my yard for drainage, and that's on page 2, if you'll take a look at that. I was told that rainwater from the street, and that's on page 4, you go to page 4, will fill the retention pond, and then when the pond becomes full, the water would flow into the drain at the rear of my property. And that's page 3. Skipped you around a little bit. And then it would disperse into the woods and reach the weir. If you look at the bottom of your page, on page 3, there's a weir at the bottom. This concept worked well for a few years until fallen trees and vegetation choked the water flow in and beyond the ditch, thus limiting the drainage into the woods. This caused stress on the drainage system, resulting in the backup of water into the ditch, my yard, the street in front of my house, and the intersection of Pinewood and Lakewood Drives. In 2005, the then Mayor Beaverland visited my property due to the backup of water, and in his words, the city was experiencing a rapid growth during the early 2000s, and their resources to closely review projects, including the drainage in our subdivision, was with a developer, and that was limited. He then went on to say that the weir system is a poor drainage system that should have never been used. He blamed the approval on Swift Mud, and when I spoke to Swift Mud, they blamed it on the city. We got each one pointing fingers at one another. During a typical rain event, and you can take a look at page 5, in the left-hand side of the page, the drainage ditch usually accommodates the rainwater runoff, especially if it's a slow rain. However, when the rain is quick and there's a lot of volume, it may barely exceed the banks of the ditch until it disperses into the woods. So it has gotten a little worse than what it was when I started in 2000. However, on June 24th, there was a 3-inch rain, and my yard became a river, and that's page 6. This was due to the stress on the drainage system as a result of the recent partially filling in of the retention pond at the end of Pinewood Drive. A representative from the city street maintenance responded to the flooding, and when I asked what could be done about the flooding issues, his comment was, the 100+ homeowners of this expensive neighborhood should buy the lot from the developer. I thought this was a poor comment as to a resolution from a high-ranking city representative. On the other hand, I do have to recognize and appreciate, even though she's not here, City Councilmember Gannon, because she came into my yard during the rain, walked through it, got soaking wet. To me, she was a concerned council member, and I'm sorry she's not here for me to thank her for doing that. My concern is with the decreased ability to capture rainwater for a quick 3-inch rain. If it's flowing over now, what's going to happen when a hurricane comes? No one knows, and it's too late to take actions on what should have been done. I chose to live in Oldsmar when I moved from Texas. I could have lived anywhere in Tampa Bay, but I chose the location because of the conveniences to work, the airport, and most importantly, I felt the leaders of Oldsmar cared about the citizens and would do what was right for them. At the time of my relocation, it seemed that the city would not govern itself by taking the easy path, but be guided by principles, integrity, and do what is right for the homes and businesses and truly care for the citizens. I find that many elected leaders have their own agendas, and I was hoping that the city of Oldsmar would not be that way. Over the last 20 years, my feelings are changing towards the city's leadership and their personal agendas. Considering the known issues of drainage and the lack of involvement in the drainage solution in our neighborhood, especially, like I say, in my particular subdivision, I'll be hard-pressed to recommend Oldsmar to anyone else who wants to move here. So I come before you to ask for your assistance to take responsibility for the poor drainage system in the woods of Forest Lakes and prevent the partial filling of the retention pond at the end of Pinewood Drive. 2 wrongs do not make a right. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone on this side of the room? Go ahead. All right, if it's the pleasure of the council, I'm going to add like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, comments. You all good with that?
Sure.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Sharma Vadlamannati. I reside at 536 Lakewood Drive, Oldsmar. I've been there for about 15, 16 years now. I own the property directly across the pond, and I can see all the stuff that's going on from our living room pretty much. I have a couple of issues with this. One is, of course, the pond was there even before he bought it. right from our beginning, April 2005, the pond is always there. So for him to say that the city was draining water onto his property, I mean, it sounds like it's crazy, actually. That's my feeling anyway. The other thing is, after he's dumped about 15, 20 truckloads in the first round, the water level already went up. And I was pointing this out to the city engineers when they came. They said it's okay, I think it's going to be normal. And now he's dumped another 80, I think, over the last couple of days. The water level is going up, and I'm directly concerned now that it's going to impact our house across the lake, because if the water comes up, it's going to go into our house, right? So I wanted to express that concern, let it be noted, and the other comment and feedback I have for the city is that they've been coming and working without any oversight. I don't see the city engineers out there. The owner himself comes up rarely. And yesterday morning, they actually turned on the pump at 6:30 in the morning, and there was nobody after that till 8 o'clock. How is that even possible? How is that guy allowed to do that kind of stuff? I, in fact, wrote to the city engineer, I think, Nan, and if they're going to do work on the site, they've got to be around. They've been turning the pump on and then walked away from the job for a major part of the days, the last few days. No city engineer to oversee it. And in spite of the mails I've sent, it's like the last mail I've sent, like, how is it even possible? There's been no response to it for 2 days. So I'm actually disappointed in the way the city is looking after the people who've been here for a long time and letting that guy get away with what he's doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, well, got one more over here.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Frank Casantino. I live on Pinewood Drive, and between Pinewood Drive and Robinwood Drive. I've lived over there here in Pinewood for 3.5 years, and I never seen this kind of problem. I live in Palm Harbor for 15 years. We never had a problem with the sewage. I live 20 years in Newport Beach, never had a problem with the sewage. All over here, we pay tax. We don't pay tax to the association. We pay tax to the city. That's the city responsibility to take care of the drainage. Last time it rained a little bit heavy, we had almost 2 feet of water, almost half of my garage, the water reached. What are we going to wait for, you guys? Sit on the chair, warm up in the chair, and do nothing about it. Somebody's going to get killed with this water. So I call up the lady, Mr. Nanny, just Nanny. She told me the drainage belongs to the association. We don't pay the tax to the association. We pay the annual fee to the association. The tax we pay to the city. So it's a city responsibility to take care of this business. I'm clear, or I'm not understandable.
Yeah, I understand.
And then the retention, the retention place over there where they're filling every day with the trucks, start 7 o'clock in the morning, all day long. That, first of all, the city should have bought it. That's peanuts for the price of the city should have bought it, and then it could put a assessor to each individual owner so much money to pay until that portion would be executed. I have nothing to do. I opened but when we go, my association called up Mr. Nan. She told her they're going to come and clean up the drainage, but they don't know when. Another year, 2 years. Those drainage should be cleaned every year and a half or 2 years. But 3.5 years I live over there, I haven't seen anybody to come and clean it. I call up this right away. They came. Right. Right away, the guys from the city came and they looked all around the drainage, right beneath and the Pinewood Drive. They said they're clogged. Nothing was moving. What are we waiting for? We pay tax for like everybody else. We are all the same citizen in this country. Everybody, we have the same rights. Not special rights for some individual. We are all the same. I finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I live at 532 Lakewood Drive, and the pond is directly behind me in Lot 10.
Name?
Excuse me. Yes. Put the microphone in front of you. Right there. Good? Better? Okay. 532 Lakewood Drive, and the pond is directly behind me. I lived there since 1999, and I chose this lot particularly to for my family, for my son, it was a good place. I've come from New York City, and it was a good place that we moved to. It was very peaceful, and we paid a few more dollars to live with that pond is, and now to see it uprooted the way it is, and just a matter of factly without any recourse, because this guy's just bulldozing right through 30 trucks within the last 2 days of dirt. 1/3 of that pond is already full. And now, I see, where is this extra water gonna go to? I see it's gonna go up and into my pool, my home. The view is done. I see the turtles. It's just so devastating to see this going on an everyday basis with no recourse. And he's just continuing on, knowing that there's things that are wrong, and we see it, but no one can stop it because he's just going bulldozing right through. I would hire a lawyer, but my funds are low. I can't. My pockets are not deep. I can't do that. So I'm asking you to stand up for us, because this is just, I just don't understand how he can get away with it and continue and go on, and we just standing there and we know what's wrong. We see things that are not right, and he's just going on, and we just don't know what to do. Everybody just keeps on doing something else, or we check there, or go there, and there's nothing that, we at a standstill, and we asking for your help, please. Something's got to get done. That's it.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I didn't get your name. Sorry, I didn't get your name.
Elva Morales.
Thank you, Elva.
You're welcome.
My name's Don, and as you can see, I'm way past my consumed by expiration date. So I'm gonna have to read this, because if I don't read this, I'm gonna bumble and I'm gonna wander, and you're gonna call an alert on me, one of them things you see on the sign. I want to talk about the difference between what's legal and what's right. When laws are made, you can't consider everything that's going to happen. There's unintended consequences. And that's why we're here tonight, because of unintended consequences of the law. Now, we're here to ask for your help in an appeal to what's right. Legal changes all the time. 60 years ago, a black person going into a white restroom to relieve himself was arrested, and somebody had to pay his fine and his legal fees, or he went to jail. 10 years ago, a 95-year-old man, his wife, and the seller would all go to jail and have huge legal fees if he bought medical marijuana or CBD oil to relieve her cancer pain. And last week, if Elva tried to save the lives of the turtles she loved by taking them into her home when the retention pond was drained for the second time, she and not the developer would have been fined, because it's not legal in Florida to keep wild turtles. But apparently it is legal to bury turtles by filling in a retention pond for a huge Elva would have had to get a lawyer, and as she said, she doesn't have the money to do it. When we put our hands over our hearts and said, and justice for all, that's bullshit. Because we know at $500 an hour, justice goes to the highest bidder. Today, 151 innocent, mostly unaware homeowners are now each on the hook for over $100 and still rising legal fees spent by the Homeowners Association to protect the woods of forest lakes from flooding, with no help yet from their government. It may be legal, but it's not right. Please help us.
Thank you. You have one more? Okay. And then we're gonna let John Andrews speak.
My name is Ashok Mora. I reside at 530 Lakewood Drive. It's in Forest Lakes, the woods. My house is right behind a pond, and I have a drainage easement, which collects the water, runs down from several houses above, and it drains directly into the pond. If they're decreasing the volume of the pond for drainage, guess where the water is going to back up to? Anyone got a room in their house? They can accommodate me or help me clean up? So please do something about this. This should have been thought through from the beginning. And it's a shame that they're doing this right now and no one can stop them because of a technicality. Thank you.
Name is John Andrew Cambanis. Here as a citizen of Oldsmar. I'm 524 Cypress Bend, and I'm also here representing the HOA for our community, the Woods of Forest Lakes. And I just want to say that you know, we've been working on this for about a month right now, and I want to start by saying, you know, thank you to those of you who've made yourself available, because quite a few have made themselves available to help in any way they can. But we are challenged because on the one hand, you know, we've been gifted with the opportunity to get to know you better and all those things. But on the other hand, we may not like the wrapping because the wrapping isn't exactly the terms we would love to get to know each other on. But you know, I have to thank those of you who came to see the property firsthand. Katie met with me, spent 2 hours. Wish she was here for this today, but since she's not, hopefully she can watch it on video. There's also several of the employees who've made their cell phones available and have been able to take my calls on a moment's notice. And I really, really appreciate that. So in coming before you, I think about all these things, and I also think about the fact that, you know, it's no accident that we're all here. We're all here because we care. I mean, everyone sitting in here, whether, you know, it's city council or it's all the community members, we're all here because we care about this city, and we believe that our opportunity to speak and present and say what we feel or what we're concerned about is being heard. I have been getting a lot of mixed messages. The primary issue, I think, is that legally I've been told that he's allowed to do what he's doing. And I know that I've heard this from a lot of people within my community and within Oldsmar's, you know, volunteers and employees, is like, you know, we've all kind of mimicked the same thing. It just doesn't seem right. This doesn't seem right. So I spent more than a couple days combing through some of the old documents and trying to see if I could maybe offer some additional information to help us, you know, look at this more fully and completely. And I'm trying to figure out how to make the projector pick up what I got on my screen. Is anyone
I think you
really
need
good at this?
help from in back. And just like that,
Oh, cool. All right.
magic.
So let's try this, and I'll do my best to go through this as quickly as I can. Okay. So, so for those who don't know, this is the Woods of Forest Lakes. We're surrounded by forest lakes, pine and forest. And the development occurred over three phases. So I'm not sure if there's a way to point, but phase one.
John Andrew?
Yeah.
You got the clicker?
Yeah, I do have the clicker.
Pointed it somewhere.
Point it somewhere. Okay. Can you see the arrow on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. If you can see the arrow on the screen, this was phase one, but the 1985 was really an initial dropping of the roads and getting things started, and then phase two is this whole second half here. So, what happened and I kind of want to just really quick kind of go back to September, is I got a call from one of our neighbors saying they saw the ad. So this is the pond. This is the picture of the pond. So someone saw an ad for 116,000 ponds for sale. Look at it. It's a beautiful pond, but we're like, a pond's for sale. And then in the document it says that this is made available to fill. So right away I reached out to Michelle, who was in charge of planning at the time, and she said, well, realtors say a lot of things. It's not always correct. But I said, and this is highlighted in yellow, the listing says they have approval for the pond. She indicated they don't have approval. What they're doing is they're trying to get approval. So I said, well, they don't have approval from the HOA, and I provided that documentation. So this goes all the way back to September. Now, fast forward, the next time we heard from the city of Oldsmar is when I called again saying, we see surveyors, what's going on? And so in our attempts to have an open line of communication, things fell through. And here I've got some of the history. What was provided was the conversation.
We're gonna let you roll.
I appreciate it. And I'm hoping this is constructive, because that's the goal here. But here we have conversations that occurred between R. Kelly, who is the lot owner, and the city of Oldsmar, indicating that that he needs to provide certain things in order for this to move forward. And the city was really reluctant to approve it. Where we are today, and this is my most recent exchange with the city, is that he's got the legal right to do it, and legally we can't stop him. So I've been combing through documents to try and see how we can take this thing and look at the legal side of it. So this isn't a fun discussion or presentation, but I know that legal is here to provide their opinion and give us their perspective on things. And their perspective is only as good as the information they have. Now, over 20 plus years, it's hard to have all that information, and on the spot, we're asking legal for an opinion. That's not an easy position to be in. We all know that legal is doing the best they can, just as all of us are. But what we do know is, and some of the others have already iterated, is that we can't assume that this is okay just because legally it's okay if it doesn't feel right. There's something there that we just don't know. Missing information, missing history. So in my effort to go through this, and there's quite a bit of documentation in here that HOA was never responded to my request. This is R. Kelly saying he's never heard from us. Then I've got the email, which I shared with him, and his response to us was, we can either purchase for fair market value of $166,000, or we can fill the pond for him because it's on his property. So the perspective that he took with the city is that the pond had been dug into his property, and he has the right to reclaim his land using 1988 documentation. So steps taken to date. So this is my little summary here to try to show you how much we've been trying to move move the needle on getting this concern addressed. So we've been speaking directly to R. Kelly. I've had multiple conversations with him, with the city and with DEP, the Department of Environmental Protection. Right now, for those who don't know, he has a permit from the city of Oldsmar, a permit from the Department of Environmental Protection. We've used email communications. We've had our HOA attorney, number 3 is a cease and desist letter was written to R. Kelly. City was copied. An offer was made. We made an offer to purchase the lot because what we did was we said, okay, we're going to spend money on legal fees and chase it down. We don't know what the end results are. What if we put that money to get that land, put it in the hands of our community where it belonged? We've been maintaining it. We always thought it was ours. Here we are. Here's our opportunity. We made him an offer. He countered. So our original offer was 57, then 62, then he asked to see my spreadsheet to see how we came up with our offer. He countered with 97. I told him that my final and best offer based on what we could do as a community was 80,000. And this is equivalent to an annual HOA dues for everyone in our community. So it was a legitimate offer, and we said we'll waive all the fees to you, all the fees for all the violations that have occurred, all the past dues. And he never answered us. He asked for it in writing. He ended up proceeding with the work. Requested the city for assistance with the purchase. This was denied per the attorney concerns over what will it mean and how it will be taken if others hear about it. Petition for a hearing. So we've petitioned the DEP for a hearing saying that, our opinion needs to be heard. The petition was received. It was denied because it was incomplete. We have refiled it today. We just got confirmation it was received. Al and Felicia have been copied on it. So I'm expecting, like the first time where the work had to stop, I'm expecting it to have to stop again. Hopefully this time we'll be able to have a hearing. So effort goes on. With the city, we've kind of called out some of and we've done it with DEP, we've called out some of the violations that we feel could potentially help from a legal perspective, put a pause on his effort, pause it so that he can come up with a legitimate plan. One of the challenges is that he used old drawings. So I went back and looked at all the old drawings. Now, this may not be easy for everyone to read, but in that circle, it says existing pond to be expanded. And this was probably in the 80s. And you can see that the streets don't line up with the way they are today. This was a very early rendering. So this was a prompt for me to go and try to see if I could find anything that spoke of that. I could not find anything that spoke of that. So I looked at the next drawings. The next drawings are laid out in the way that our community is laid out. And you can see the detention pond is exactly the same shape as it is today. Now, here's the interesting thing. If you look at the placement of Lot 6, it is not where the pond is, it's where Lot 6 should have been. So here's the interesting thing. If you look on this sheet, it says 75 feet for each of these lots. So I went through the technical documents and it says lots must be 75 feet in width. Building setback line 100 feet, 100-foot depth, 75-foot width. So I'm seeing this over and over again, 75-foot width. And then here's another interesting thing. 10-foot maintenance easement is inadequate around ponds, minimum is 25. If there's a 25-foot easement around a pond, then you wouldn't be able to build on it. No one would be able to do what's happening right now. So back to the 75, I found it again on more documents. This is all coming from 1988, around then. Now, this is interesting because we had people write into the city, this is 1999, indicating that the woods was approved in the 80s, which meant that they got certain leniency that wouldn't have been allowed. So the drainage wasn't really as developed as it should have been. So by the time 1999 came around, we weren't necessarily being forced to be held to the same drainage code standards as were in the 1980s, just because the project started back then. And so the changing of the hands gave new owners the opportunity to do this. Well, maybe this is a situation where our code can be improved, right? If a new owner takes on and there's new codes, then maybe they're not grandfathered in. Maybe there's got to be something that we look at there. So anyway, in an effort to keep things moving, one of the things that was important to the city back then was that they got a copy of our declaration. So those declarations were provided. I've got screenshots just to show they were stamped, approved. This was all within the city documents. Here I found some flood hazard information. This would be on the basis, says locally determined data shall include but not be limited to watershed management plans. So number 2 says property easement rights, and this is just the legal rules around that. So article here, you can see that cutout in surrounded by orange specifies that our declaration does not allow ponds to be altered.
And this is your covenants, correct?
This is in our covenants, yeah. So this is in our covenants. So what I was looking at is I was looking at the current, the current documentation says, this article should not impair any deed restriction covenants or easements. So if this is a deed restriction covenant, then maybe this is something that we can leverage to say, if we can connect these dots here, I think there might be something. Moving on, I want to point out that in some of the early drawings, we had ponds that were proposed. Here you can see proposed ponds, and the large circle where the pond that in discussion right now is circled, it says existing pond to be enlarged. That says existing pond. So this is not a proposed pond. This one is existing. Now moving on, here's the drawing that shows our current layout. Existing pond, you can see that pond has not changed shape from today. Close up, another close up. Now on this drawing, you can see it's really hard to read, but it says 75 foot, 75 foot, 75 foot. Now what I did here is to try and make this a little bit more, a little easier for everyone to see, is I turned them so we can take a clock and say at the 6 o'clock position is lot 6. So lot 6 is directly at the 6 o'clock position at the cul-de-sac. The pond is at position 7 through 11 o'clock. If we look at it this way and we look at the updated drawings, what happened here? The updated drawings pushed lot 6 to the pond. So I'm not convinced that our pond was enlarged into his lot. What I think happened was his lot got pushed based on lot lines. And so what I did was I looked at the calculations, and in the calculations, and here I have them in red pointing to both the old and the new version, you got frontage lots adding up to 465 feet in a cul-de-sac, right? This is going from the corner all the way down to the pond. Then, if I go to the tax records and I pull up the drawing, this is what we're looking at today. Lot 6 got pushed. Those lot measurements are different. They went from lot frontage of 75 required for each individual property to 62, 61, 58, 81. So the actual and the proposed are 102 feet different. So what I see happening is I see that the lots got pushed. His lot got pushed into the pond. The new drawings were like, okay, well, this was marked as a lot. We're going to keep it as a lot. Nobody caught it. I don't think I would have either. So is this a way for us to say, wait a minute, your claim, and here's the other thing is, in talking to him, he's like, well, your pond is intruding on my lot. That's the problem. And he's convinced DEP and the city that that's the case. And I have it in writing from both that that's been the argument. And that's been the main concern is his lot should have been a lot. Well, I think it should have been a lot, but if we go back to that 75-foot requirement for every frontage, then and we're willing to modify his lot, then what about all these other lots? All these other lots should have had 75-foot frontage. They don't. They don't, not today, but they bought it based on what they saw. He bought this property in 2002 based on what he saw. He knew what he was buying. What he did very convincingly is found paperwork, which the city provided him, and was able to make a compelling argument that served his purpose and not the purpose of our community. So again, here's this 75-foot minimum lot width, lot depth of 100. So what we saw here is we saw the drawing shifting. And so instead of showing in the next iteration of drawings, instead of showing the front measurements, they show the back measurements, and they submitted them as the paperwork. So that's the big kind of reveal that I think might help us. I also found a lot of other documentation indicating and really compelling information that showed that this drainage solution was always a problem, and it's been flagged repeatedly. You know, here it says, we have repeatedly stated city council meetings, our stormwater system does not provide adequate drainage for the houses that have already been constructed. This is from 2000. So here we have the city saying Haddock recommended that only 25% of phase 1 be allowed to be constructed, at which time we would have to meet the recreational requirements. So the recreational requirements weren't being met. The city council elected to put a stop on it. They didn't say, you know, they're allowed to move forward. They said, well, you've got commitments you've got to meet. What really concerns me most is that when I talk to R. Kelly, he goes to me, he's like, I go, well, where's your proof that this smaller pond is going to be adequate? He goes, I don't need the proof. The city gave me the drawings. The drawings show that the original size of the pond was X, and based on that, all I have to do is make sure I don't exceed that. That was his rationale. And so for someone to come at 20, 30 years later and not be required to provide, you know, those measurements, those calculations, that burden of proof, I found other examples in the city documents where that burden of proof was required from the applicant, not from the city or anyone else. I almost felt like in talking to the city that sometimes the city was taking too much responsibility for this, like saying, well, in our opinion, the measurements look okay. Well, why would you make an opinion on that? Why wouldn't you force R. Kelly to provide proof, like legitimate proof? Where's the study? So public improvements, this is a certified document that said when Christie signed over what would be publicly and privately maintained. Here it says water system, sanitary system, stormwater drainage, and reclaimed water system is all publicly maintained. So hopefully this helps with the confusion around who owns what. My understanding is that we're responsible for maintaining the ponds, and then the stormwater drainage would be the responsibility of the city. Now, this has been another thing that we've kind of gone back and forth. We just want to make sure it's done properly. This is what I found buried in the city archives. From the survey, it says, I hereby dedicate all easements shown therefore for public use. Here it says, only construction and drainage easements shall be the property line fences. So if only fences are allowed in property line easements, then how is he allowed to put dirt? I don't know exactly where those easements are, but that could be another area where we may have some grounds to press for a reversal of the permit. So, you know, I'm happy to go through more of this, but I really think that I've kind of honed in on the key things. I know that we're all here for the right reasons. We do need your help. We do want to work together to get to a better place than where we are right now. A lot of people, as you heard, are concerned, and so am I, for our community. And drainage has been an ongoing issue, and we really need to find a better place going forward. We've had some of the largest, sale prices recently in our community, and this doesn't fare well for the city or our community if this isn't resolved. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Can I say one more thing? Now, I've been hearing that the city don't have power to do this. I do believe you guys have the power to at least put a stop work permit until this get resolved. I mean, you guys have the power to use it to stop what's going on until we get to a bottom line resolution for this situation.
Thank you, LJ. And I'm going to go ahead and close the citizens' open forum. And this item I asked to be put on the agenda, although it doesn't come till item 16, so it's a ways off. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to take one more item on the agenda. Excuse me, a couple of small items. And then I'm going to ask the council for permission to suspend the rules of the day to move that item way up, okay? So let us get a little housekeeping going. All right, next item on the agenda is Community Minute, which is presented by our city clerk, Ann Nixon.
Ball hockey camp, July 26th to 30th, 9 in the morning to noon. Oldsmar rink at Oldsmar Sports Complex. Kids ages 9 to 13 can learn the basics of the game of hockey and develop their skills to jump into the game. Campers just need a stick and sneakers, $60 with a red card, $90 without. Call 813-749-1152 for more information. Summer Fertilizer Ban. Pinellas County's fertilizer ordinance bans the sale and use of any lawn or landscape fertilizer with nitrogen or phosphorus now through September 30th to protect our aquatic environment during the rainy season. Remember, only rain down the drain. Phosphorus is not for us. And sympathize, don't fertilize. If you want to learn more, you visit pinellscounty.org/fertilizer. And would you like to know a little bit more? Sign up for Alert Pinellas. The 2021 hurricane season is heating up. To receive important messaging from the city and county, sign up for Alert Pinellas for free for residents and businesses. You can choose how to receive the alerts, text, emails, phone calls. They have all sorts of ways. And you can get alerts for up to 5 addresses in Pinellas County. So you can get addresses if you have parents around or kids around or you just want to know what's going on. Alert Pinellas is the way to do it.
Very good, thank you, thank you. Next item on the agenda is awards and recognition. The presentation of the Council Manager Award for July 2021, which will be presented by our City Manager, Al Braithwaite. Oh. While you're walking up there, I'm gonna cover something that I skipped. Actually, the next item on the agenda was the approval of addition of new agenda items. Since we had to cancel our last meeting, all of this is considered new agenda items. So the chair will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Since you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Next item on agenda, awards and recognition.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Hopefully this will be a little good news. So each month, the Council Manager Award is given to, can be somebody in the community, can be an employee. And for July, we'd like to show you, there it goes. We'd like to give the award to the Tampa Bay Lightning Foundation Community Hockey Department. And we're very blessed and honored to have Mr. Feaster and Mr. Dreeth, would you like to join us? This is very, very personal for me because I'm a rabid hockey fan. And for those of you that know a little bit about hockey, Mr. Feaster was the general manager of the Tampa Bay Lightning the first time they won the Cup. And he's been with the organization pretty much ever since. Josh is now the manager of the street and roller hockey, the community hockey, I can never get this screwy, the community hockey department. What you're seeing there are kind of a rolling loop of things that we did from the groundbreaking of the rink that we now have at the Oldsmar Sports Complex. And I wanted to read you a little something to summarize the award. The purpose of the Council Manager Award is to recognize people or organizations that make our community better. Oftentimes we give the award to employees, but as I said before, we also like to acknowledge those organizations that make Oldsmar the great place it is to live, work, and play. I've often said how blessed we are to have a working relationship with the best-run professional sports organization in the world, that being the Tampa Bay Lightning. While the timing of the Lightning's second straight Stanley Cup win is fortuitous, for tonight's purposes, it only does 2 things. First, it further confirms the point I made about the organization. And second, it makes Mr. Feaster's argument about the first Stanley Cup team being the best Lightning team ever a little harder to make. Tonight's award is being presented to the Tampa Bay Lightning Foundation Community Hockey Department. Everyone in that department plays a vital role in helping the entire organization to succeed. The Lightning Foundation consistently offers an incredible array of services and ways to promote the great game of hockey, while enriching the lives of every participant in any community that they visit, specifically ours, to which we're partial to. They do this everywhere, but we'd like to recognize them tonight for what they do in ours. The Lightning Foundation Community Hockey Department makes our community better every single day. Representing the Tampa Bay Lightning Foundation Community Hockey Department tonight is the VP of Community Hockey Development, Jay Feaster, who, by the way, yesterday got promoted. He's now the Senior Vice President of Business and Legal Affairs for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Congratulations, sir. I think he brought Josh along because Josh is going to incorporate or inherit a lot of his responsibilities. So up to this promotion point, this department has been led by Mr. Feaster, who in my mind is one of the greatest executives anywhere, whose career has covered every possible base in this great sport, from coaching, Hershey Bears, to being the GM of the Lightning's first Stanley Cup team, to being the director of this great program. And as I've just mentioned, he is now the Senior Vice President of Business and Legal Affairs for the Lightning. This announced yesterday. He does have a background as an attorney. I'm partial to his accomplishments as the GM for the 03-04 team as a lifetime fan, but suffice it to say that this man has done it all. He has put together a great team of budding professionals here, like Josh, who continue to shine in promoting the game, giving our community a bunch of new recreation programs, countless pieces of equipment, and representing themselves with great distinction. Our citizens, especially kids, but not exclusively kids, just ask Councilmember Saraki and myself, they get professional instruction, positive reinforcement, and a valued connection with the greatest professional sports organization in the world. We greatly appreciate all that Josh and his crew bring to our rink, our special events, and our city every single day. You'll see him refereeing a game, running a league, working the clock, giving out hockey equipment, and just about everything else. I don't think we can overestimate what the Community Hockey Department has done for our citizens. We want to say thank you with this small token and tell you how much we appreciate what you do for us and hope that the relationship continues to grow in the future. In case you were wondering, the Lightning Foundation made a major financial contribution to the construction cost of the rink. So talk about a good way to promote the game and support the community. A little bit of history. In September 2015, the Tampa Bay Lightning, in partnership with the National Hockey League and the National Hockey League Players Association, announced they would invest more than $6 million to grow the game of hockey and teach life skill lessons to young residents across the Tampa Bay region. The program, titled Build the Thunder, marked the third major community initiative under Lightning Chairman and Governor Jeff Finnick since he purchased the Lightning in 2010. Under the direction of Mr. Feaster, who at the time, until yesterday, was the Executive Director of Community Hockey Department, the Lightning Made Community Hockey Program has grown into numerous community outreach platforms that include Learn to Play programs, girls hockey, sled hockey, camps and clinics, Lightning Made Rookie League, Lightning High School Hockey League with an elite development program, and finally, street roller and ball hockey programs, which are our favorite. What makes the Lightning Made Community Hockey Program work are the people behind the scenes, like Josh and his crew. The Bolt Street team members are frequent visitors to Oldsmar. Since the groundbreaking ceremony of our ball rink, which I think you saw a picture of, they have set up Lightning swag giveaways all over our great city. In addition, they assist our staff with clinics and camps to build a fan base for the Lightning and develop future hockey players. Former Lightning players are involved with the Lightning Made program, providing hockey instructions and life skill lessons. Many NHL players began their skill development playing street and roller hockey. As an example, our very own Lightning forward Pat Maroon, who's also known as the Big Rig, learned the game using inline skates to develop his skill he needed to become a 3 times in a row Stanley Cup winner, which we also call that a Pat trick for you hockey fans. Player development is a wonderful potential byproduct that can occur from making the game available to all. Maybe someday we'll have an NHLer who will tell the world that he started right here in Oldsmar. The joy that our citizens receive out of being able to participate in this great sport is the primary focus of why we want to recognize the community hockey department for all that they do. They work tirelessly behind the scenes with little to no fanfare, bringing the game to anyone who wants to learn it in every community around Tampa Bay, but especially for ours. The city of Oldsmar, also occasionally known as Boltsmar, is honored to have such a partnership with this great organization and would like to recognize the Lightning Maid Community Hockey Program with this award and our endless thanks. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Al and Mr. Mayor and the entire council and all the citizens. Thank you very much. We're honored. I will tell you that this group here in Oldsmar, the partners that we work with, Chip and Felicia and Al, it's just the greatest. We enjoy it here. We love it here. We love working with the kids. You heard Dan comment earlier about the camp coming up at the end of the month. We hope you'll all take advantage of that. Your kids will take advantage, grandkids. Come on out, it'll be a lot of fun. We appreciate it. I should hire Al as my agent because I coached all of one game in the American Hockey League for the Hershey Bears, but Al has me now as a coach too. So seriously, we appreciate it. It doesn't happen without a great team. You all know that. And I have the greatest group in the world. I get to stand up and make the speeches and wave and pick up the awards, but it's Josh and the team and the street team that we have, our part-time employees, our full-time staff that make it go. So we thank you very, very much for this award, and we look forward to working with you for a lot of years.
Thank you for all you do for us.
Thank you, gentlemen. And thank you for all that you do for not only our community, but all the communities around here in Tampa Bay. All right. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to suspend the rules of the day for the purpose of moving item 16 up to the next item.
So moved.
I have a motion from Zaraki, seconded by the Vice Mayor. Discussion? Sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take item 16 right now. Discuss the Woods property. I asked that this item be put on here. I've been out there with John Andrew and with Tyson a few times. I sat out there in the rain, just seeing how quickly things started to fill up, and it wasn't a really bad rain either, but it was enough. And so, you know, there's a lot of different issues going on with that property out there, obviously. You know, I wasn't here in 1985 when it got permitted. And so I'm not going to comment too much on the quality of the system that the developer put in there, how it was signed off on and everything else. I don't know. I don't think most of us up here do. What I do know is that after being out there, and my wife is starting to tease me every time she sees John Andrews' number come up on the phone because, you know, we're on the phone for a while. I asked the city manager what we could do to go buy that property. Well, let's just buy it and solve the problem, right? I mean, that to me is the smartest thing to do, and, you know, life goes on. But we ran into problems with that, and I'm going to ask our legal counsel why that is problematic for us as a city to do.
Well, it's prohibited by the Florida Constitution, and that's the real reason. There is a specific provision in Article 7, Section 10 of the Florida Constitution. I'll just read it. It's only one paragraph long. It's titled Pledging Credit. Neither the state nor any county, school district, municipality, special district, or agency of any of them shall become a joint owner with or a stockholder of or give, lend, or use its taxing power or credit to aid any corporation, association, partnership, or person. So that is what I gave my opinion on. This would definitely be using the taxing power of the city or the credit of the city to purchase the property, and so it would be a violation of that section of the Florida Constitution. There are some exceptions. There are 4 of them. They don't apply to this particular situation. And so it's my opinion that if you were to purchase that lot for the sole purposes of providing it to this homeowners association, that would be a violation of the Constitution.
And if we were to purchase a lot and make it a park, is that still a violation? Make it a city park?
Well, that's not, the answer is that yes, you could buy it and make it a city park if it met any other criteria that you would need. But if it's going to be a pond, it's not necessarily, in my mind, going to be a park. So, yeah.
All right. So let me, before I go to that and we get into some more discussion, you know, and our city manager, quite frankly, you know, he's been on the phone with the owner of the property multiple times, trying to work out some kind of resolution. Because I don't want people to think that we don't care. I mean, we're trying to figure out a way to fix this problem, okay? It's just turning out to be one hell of a problem to get it done. So I had another thought along that lines, and that is, if that pond's about what, 2 feet deep?
It's 7 feet deep at its deepest point.
Okay.
Holds a lot of water.
All right.
We're not asking to
So,
buy the property. We're
Tyson,
asking to hold the
I
property.
understand that.
Calculation's right.
So the question I have, is it possible for us to make the remainder of the pond deeper? And what will we have to do to try to, if we can't purchase it, if there are rights that the property owner has that we do not believe enables us to arbitrarily say you can't do what you want on your property. Can you just stop? Tyson, either stop or you're gonna be removed. And I know you're passionate about it. Could we not, as a city, go out and deepen what's remaining there so that we have volume to replace what is being lost? And I would kick that over to my city manager.
Well, sounds logical, but assuming there's no legal issue with it, I think we'd need permission from the other property owner. I'm not sure we'd have trouble getting that, but I mean, that sounds like a potential something that would help, but that's the first I've heard of it, so I think we need to study that a little bit more. Nan, do you have something you want to share there?
No, there's more than one property owner.
Because
All of the
Daniel,
property owners on the lake.
you don't mind if I speak up on this?
Well, you know what, why don't you, let's let her go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was, my fault, but Daniel had answered that.
Nan Bennett, Public Works Director. When you dig below the seasonal high water level or whatever the groundwater level is, the groundwater fills in the pond. You don't get any extra storage. You can only go to the seasonal high water level and get additional storage.
I got you. Okay. That's a strange feedback. All right, I'll open it up for council comment at this point. Councilman, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Tom, I just kind of a follow-up question about the Constitution. Is that, are we limited because we can't turn it over to the HOA? Like if we just buy it and retain it as city-owned retention, is that allowable?
So the answer is yes, I think that you can, and that's kind of what the mayor was saying is what is the purpose that we're going to use it for when we purchase it?
We have to have a
The question
purpose.
I was asked when this issue first came up was, can we buy it and sell it back to the HOA? Can we buy it and then issue a special assessment back to the members of the homeowners association? Those answers are absolutely no under this provision of the Florida Constitution. So, you know, as for buying it and retaining it, you know, I think that you can do that, but you would have to, otherwise, I think that the documents of the homeowners association will probably have to be modified because it is not that portion that you're messing around with out there. I'm not sure whether or not the homeowners association would allow that. So they may need to modify that. I haven't looked into that issue at all.
Okay.
So
I mean, I would venture to guess they'd probably.
I think they'd be okay with that.
That'd be a good bet.
Going out on a limb.
The other question I had, I guess kind of maybe more so to Al, but it sounds like maybe more investigation is if it's a matter of potentially deepening excavation on a single pond, can others be touched as well? If we can't handle the lot itself, how to mitigate against that is, I think maybe there's potentially other options. But I mean, I really appreciate everybody that come out and spoke. John, the investigative work that you're doing. I mean, it looks to me, just from the surface on very limited exposure to it, that some kind of error was made along the way in terms of how that was platted. And I don't know if that alone, that the HOA can get off on a technicality to say this was done wrong back then, and how can we make amends? Maybe not. You know, I don't know. As far as obviously it's been that way for so long as when it was platted, but again, is there enough records there to make any fix that way? So
Right.
just wanted to point that out.
Councilmember Shiraki.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I guess my question goes to you, Mayor. You mentioned make the pond bigger. I can't really see on this photo. Is there more land there we can go wider with the pond?
I don't think you can, no. I was talking about making it deeper.
I think maybe wider. Unfortunately, I just want to say thank you all, everyone, for coming out. It's so important that you're here for our community. It's very important. As an HOA president since 2009, I understand your pain. East Lake Oaks had some growing pains back in 2009, and this is something that I've never witnessed before. So this is very unique to your situation. I don't have an answer for you guys. I wish I did. I wish I could have a magic ball and just fix your problem, but the drainage problem is very serious, very, very serious. At East Lake Oaks, when it drains, our streets flood too, but it takes a while for that water to go away.
Let's take away one of your ponds then. But now you see where we're at.
But anyways, I don't have a solution. I wish I did.
Councilmember Graber.
I think the solutions that we are at least talking about, and then of course Tom looking into it constitutionally, that's all important. I think that's all important for everyone. I have a unique perspective on this because I started as a clerk at an HOA and condo firm, and now I work in title insurance. So when John Andrew was flipping through surveys, I think Tom and I were both going like this. So I was trying to see exactly what you did. So I think part of the problem that's going on is it goes all the way back to 1985. So you can hire an attorney, but an attorney's got to do what? Read every single page of it and try to figure it out, right? And so that's a practical concern. But you want R. Kelly to stop. And so how quickly can all of that be done? So I think that's the issue that we're running into here. If it's a quick fix to buy it and we can use it as city-owned property, thanks, Gus. And we might need to have a public purpose. I don't think that we've vetted that out long enough in order to make that decision. I think it's a wise solution if we can get there, and I think all of you would be appreciative of it. But your declaration of covenants, conditions, and restrictions would have to be reviewed to see if there's any hurdles that would get over on that. But to the point, it's an issue. We would like to do everything we can to help solve the issue, but we run into our own sets of rules too. So I just want to make sure everybody know, I live across the street. I live on Jacaranda, just off Jacaranda. So I've been in there. I talked to Tyson the first time that everybody came to council. I've walked the path when I showed up. I usually drive through there a couple times a week to see what's going on next. So it's on the front of my brain what's happening here. And I think all of the discussions that we've had with the city manager and assistant city manager are, which way can we go here? How can we get this accomplished? So moving in the right direction, that sounds like what we're doing here. And again, as everybody else had mentioned, thank you for coming out, because if we don't know, we don't know. So I don't live in your neighborhood, I live across the street. I didn't know what was happening until you told us, so thank you very much. That's all I had, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Well, look, it sounds like, at least we hope, that maybe DEP will put a stop based on you filing the amended complaint, I guess.
Petition, yeah.
I would entertain a motion to purchase the property after the city manager, the city attorney has been able to look at the documents, as well as that we would make it, a public park or resting spot, where you put benches out along the water, fishing hole. Because we're spending millions of dollars down on Harbor Palms fixing the problems they have down there. We could spend this money, in my mind, it's not a bad investment. And it's probably the only solution that actually works.
Can we make it a turtle observatory?
We can make it that.
Turtle Park.
Turtle Park?
Wouldn't it be wise to see if he owns the property and what the boundaries are, and
All right.
stop it until we know that?
Yeah. So listen, I'm gonna ask, so let us kind of work through this up here, right? So the city attorney just pointed out to me that there are certain requirements that we have to purchase property. One is an appraisal and to ensure that we're paying fair market value.
And no more than fair market value, correct, yeah.
All right. All right.
So you can't entertain a motion at this time?
I believe you could entertain it with that language, couldn't you?
I think what we really should do is well, the answer is yes. You could
Okay.
put any motion you want on the table, but it just may complicate things as we're trying to bring it forward. There may be other issues that we need to come back to you on.
Is there anything we can do to put a pause until further things can be vetted out?
Stop what's going on right now until we get it resolved.
The answer is not legally. You don't have the right to do that. You're going to expose yourself to liability in pulling that permit or stopping that permit when there's no legal basis for that. So.
Other than flooding.
Well, you don't know
Well,
what the boundaries
then what
are,
I
you
would-
don't know who owns it.
Well, look,
That's an assumption.
hopefully DEP will put a pause on it. I mean, I think that's probably what's going to happen pretty quick, which I would say buys us some time, so that perhaps what we can do between now and the next council meeting, add it as an agenda item, giving you that time to go do what due diligence, knowing that I think it's a pleasure of this council, unless I'm mistaken, that that's the direction we want to go in. I mean, do I have any disagreements from the council members?
No.
Okay. Does that work for you?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, let's get it done. We'll figure it out. We got to get it done. All right, at this time, the chair will entertain a motion to return to the rules of the day.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second discussion. Since you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Next item on the agenda. Community Redevelopment Agency. Do you guys want to take about a 5-minute break? That way, if
Recess?
folks want to clear out, they can go right ahead and not worry about it.
I move for a recess, 5-minute recess?
So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion. Ready to vote? All in favor, aye? We're at recess. The chair entertain a motion to call the meeting back to order. I got a motion. I have a second. Any discussion? Such and you're ready to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. All right, we're back in order. Our next item on the agenda is Community Redevelopment Agency. We have no item under there. So we'll move on to the consent docket, which will be announced by our city clerk, Ann Nixon.
Item number 2, approve minutes of the June 15, 2021 council meeting. And item number 3, approve minutes of May 25, 2021 annual planning conference and capital improvement plan work session.
Does anybody wish to pull anything? The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Since you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. City of Oldsmar, accept appointment of Paula Saraki as the board-appointed trustee on the firefighter pension board. I believe Paula is here with us.
I know how to clear a room, right?
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Well, thank you for stepping up to do this.
Sure, you're welcome.
So I think we all pretty well know you.
Yep.
And you know about the singing and dancing, right?
Yes, well, I only do karaoke or dancing if I've been drinking. And I've not been drinking this evening, so.
Having that cup over there. No, I'm just kidding. I couldn't resist that. Well, so all joking aside, I served on this board for a long, well, not real long, but I served on it for quite a while, enough to know that it's an important task. And so it's nice to see somebody sharp like yourself step up and get on there. I always used to joke a lot about you being the extra council member because you help out so much on things. So with that, is there anybody who'd like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I've got a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Discussion?
Welcome, thank you.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, well, welcome aboard.
Thank you very much. I'm very
very
honored
good.
and I'm happy. Thank you very much.
Give her a round of applause, come on. All right, approve the reappointment of Frank Chicola to the Board of Adjustments. As you know, we don't require our existing board members to come unless they wish to. So come back and stand up since we already know him pretty well. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to approve. So moved. I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is the city attorney, item 6.
Thank you. We have 4 public hearings tonight. The first public hearing is the second reading of ordinance 2021-17, amending Chapter 58 of the Code of Ordinances. I'll read that title. I'll read that ordinance by title only. Ordinance 2021-17, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending Chapter 58, streets, sidewalks, and other public places of the Code of Ordinances to replace the term easement with right-of-way, replace the term user of the easement with permittee, and replace the term rights-of-way with rights-of-way throughout Chapter 58. Change excavation in streets permissibility from council to city manager or designee. Add authority of city manager or designee to require anything necessary to ensure safety and protection of public facilities. Add parking motorized vehicles to improper use of sidewalks. Limit payments made in lieu of sidewalk construction costs held in city trust fund to be used only for citywide sidewalk construction. Remove the term jackasses from the section 58-5. Increase fine for failure to pick up animal fecal matter. Clarify language in section 58-37, parent 7 to address impact of traffic and weather. Add children to definition of person. Change definition of public utility company to exclude municipal public utilities owned or operated by the city. Provide authority to the city manager designee for designation of placement and use of public right-of-way utilization by utilities. Provide that any hardship due to buried cable for telephone lines be shown to the city manager designee for possible exceptions. Change the title of section 58-40 to use where green space and right-of-way is insufficient. Remove section 58-41 in its entirety. Replace the word utility with permittee in section 58-84A. Set the fee for working without a right-of-way, working without a right-of-way permit. Require a temporary traffic control plan and applications for rights-of-way utilization. Provide authority to city manager for appeal processes and denying utilization authorizations. Add requirement to call for locates in emergencies. Add possible requirement for more permanent traffic control plan if work in right-of-way exceeds 10 working days, and provide that the city manager or designee have authority regarding notice requirements for construction and rights-of-way. Add pavement restoration direction, clarify roles, update equipment reference, and provide for work outside of regular business hours with regard to construction specifications. Provide that the city manager or designee shall determine impracticability or unreasonableness of retrospective undergrounding. Correct a typographical error in section 58-114. Correct grammar and reference to subparagraphs in section 58-127B, and providing for an effective date of this ordinance. That was the second final reading of ordinance 2021-17 by title only.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. We have items 6, 7, 8, and 9 are all our public hearings tonight. And so I'm going to just confirm for each one of those with the city manager that he has no remarks.
Correct.
And we have no staff presentation.
Correct.
And we have no applicant.
I'm not aware of any.
Right, there would not be an applicant. Okay. All right, so I'm not going to go through that step unless you would like me to formally. Very good. All right, so at this time, the chair will open the public hearing. Is there anybody wishing to speak on this side? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'm still not in favor of this particular change, and it's really just the one part of it, which changes the responsibilities from the council to the city manager. So that's my only comment. Does anybody else have any other comments? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Graber?
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Knapp?
Yes.
Mayor Seidel?
No.
Ordinance 2021-17, amending Chapter 58 of the Code of Ordinances is adopted with 3 votes for and 1 against, Mayor Seidel dissenting.
Thank you. Item 7.
This is a public hearing and second read for the second reading of ordinance 2021-18, amending Chapter 46 of the Code of Ordinances. I'll read that ordinance by title only. Ordinance 2021-18, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending Chapter 46, peddlers and solicitors of the Code of Ordinances to change the hours of operation for peddlers and providing for an effective date of this ordinance. That was second final reading of ordinance 2021-18 by title only.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing. Anybody like to speak on this item? Sensing that there is nobody, we'll go ahead and close the public comments. Chair will entertain a motion.
So move.
I have a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve. Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Councilmember Graber?
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Knapp?
Yes.
Mayor Seidel?
Yes.
Ordinance 2021-18, amending Chapter 46 of the Code of Ordinances is adopted with 4 votes for and 0 against.
Item 8.
Item 8 is the public hearing for the second reading of ordinance 2021-19, amending Chapter 54 of the Code of Ordinances. I'll read that by title only. Ordinance 2021-19, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending Chapter 54, solid waste of the Code of Ordinances to delete the definitions for dry garbage and moist garbage and add the definition for semi-public. Provide the city manager or designee with authority to approve specialized solid waste services. Provide that requests for alternative size carts at an additional cost be directed to administrative services, utility billing. Update name from Solid Waste Division to Public Works Department. Remove language stating that persons should not play in or around carts or containers. Delete provision for solid waste removal in alleys. Provide for owner notification prior to condemnation of personal non-city-owned cans. Correct billing reference from Public Works Department, Solid Waste Division to Administrative Services Utility Billing. Delete additional fee language when requests for additional recycling carts are made. Replace the word organizer with special event applicant as it relates to event recycling. Provide that special arrangement requests for the impaired or disabled be made to the Administrative Services Department and approved by the city manager or designee. Provide that a tenant may be billed for garbage and trash service upon written request of the property owner and providing an effective date of this ordinance. That was the second final reading of ordinance 2021-19 by title only.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak on this item? Seeing there's none, I'll go ahead and close it. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Graber? Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Knapp?
Yes.
Mayor Seidel?
Yes.
Ordinance 2021-19, amending Chapter 54 of the Code of Ordinances is adopted with 4 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you. Item 9.
Item number 9 is the public hearing for the second reading of ordinance 2021-20, amending Chapter 62 of the Code of Ordinances. I'll read that ordinance by title only. Ordinance 2021-20, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending Chapter 62, taxation of the Code of Ordinances to correct the date by which to apply for local business tax receipt from August 1 to July 1 of each year. Delete references to certain sections of Florida Constitution and Florida statutes for homestead exemption criteria. Delete reference to specific threshold for homestead exemption criteria. Update annual adjustment of income from January 1, 2020 to reflect current income limitation as per Florida statutes, and providing for an effective date of this ordinance. That was the second final reading of ordinance 2021-20 by title only.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Go ahead and open up the public hearing. Anybody from the public wish to speak on this item? Seeing that there is none, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Graber?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Knapp?
Yes.
Mayor Seidel?
Yes.
Ordinance 2021-20, amending Chapter 62 of the Code of Ordinances is adopted with 4 votes for and 0 against.
Excellent. That's it? That's all you got?
Thank you.
All right. Just for the benefit of those watching, when we do a lot of these public hearings, this is cleanup that we're doing that's come from our ordinance review committee. And so we've already had workshops on this. And so we've kind of vetted most of this. It's why you get no discussion, because we've already had it all pretty much. So in any event, all right, city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 10 is request council to accept the rankings and authorize the city manager to negotiate a franchise agreement from RFP process 2021-004 for solid waste collection services. On April 6, 2021, City Council approved AIR 1407, which authorized the city manager to advertise a request for proposal, RFP, for firms interested in providing comprehensive solid waste collection services throughout the city. City advertised through 2021-004 RFP, as previously mentioned, received responses from 3 firms. An evaluation committee comprised of city staff has reviewed, scored, and ranked the proposals received. The highest scoring proposal was submitted by Orion Waste Solutions, headquartered in Clearwater, Florida. Pending council approval, the city manager will attempt to negotiate a franchise agreement with the highest ranking firm. In the event an agreement cannot be reached, the city will terminate negotiations with the top-ranked firm and attempt to negotiate the second highest ranking firm. Appropriations for this contract will be included in the 21-22 annual budget. And their representatives, Mr. Henderson and Mr. Avery, are here if the council has any questions they're from Orion.
Very good, very good. All right, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to accept the rankings.
So moved.
I have a motion, I have a second. Second. Discussion? Any questions? Very good. I was pleasantly surprised to see how the numbers came in. We're hoping that you guys are gonna be able to get the job done for that number. I know our citizens, we've enjoyed a long relationship with our company we've been using, and I know our citizens have kind of adjusted to them, so we're hoping that you guys will really step it up on the customer service side. So, sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 11 is approved work order number 15, originating from 2018-007 RFQ with our Dura Group Incorporated for the BMX track retaining wall replacement, construction materials testing, and special inspection services. In October 2019, the city authorized our Dura Group, or as we know them, our Dura, to develop a design criteria package, including conceptual drawings and specifications for demolition and reconstruction of the city's BMX track, start hill, retaining walls, and structure. During the design-build phase of the project, our Dura is performing professional engineering services as the city's design criteria professional under work order number 11 as approved by City Council in January of 2021. Work order 15 will supplement the professional services during construction to add construction materials testing and special inspection services to the scope of work. These refer to the mechanically stabilized earth retaining walls. Very excited about the thoroughness by which we've been handling this project, since obviously some of the engineering was a problem on the original. The time and expense fee proposal for the professional services outlined in the work order is based on the contract hourly rates with a not to exceed limit of $73,043. Funding in the project is available in the Capital Projects Fund 302, and staff recommends approval.
Outstanding. All right, the chair will entertain a motion to approve. Approve. I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. Discussion. It's nice that we're going to go through this process very thoroughly to make sure that we don't find ourselves in the same situation again. That's for sure.
Yeah. Make sure they're well retained.
Well retained.
Wow.
All right, sensing you're ready to vote? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Vice Mayor's on a roll tonight. Item number 12.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 12 is authorized task 3 of agreement 2020-003 RFQ Design Services for Douglas Road Improvement Project with Kimley Horn and Associates Incorporated for the preparation of Phase 1 final design plans from Commerce Boulevard to Stevens Avenue. In 2019, the city received a state appropriation of $1 million for Phase 1 of the project, and this year the legislature appropriated $1.5 million for Phase 2 of the project. August 18th, 2020, the city of Oldsmar executed contract 2020-003 RFQ with Kimley Horn To complete the design and permitting for the Douglas Road Improvement Project, the scope of work was divided into 5 tasks. We're asking you to approve task number 3 tonight. The first task has been completed. Preliminary engineering report has been submitted and approved by city staff. Task 2 consists of completing 50% design plans for the entire roadway, which entails Commerce Boulevard to Racetrack Road, and an environmental resource permit application to the Southwest Florida Water Management District for the project. Task 2 is currently underway. Staff is now requesting council authorize Task 3 to prepare final construction plans for Phase 1 from Commerce to Stevens. The proposed fee for this work under time and materials basis is $120,985. The funding is available in Fund 302, and staff recommends approval.
All right, the chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Nan? Staff discussion?
It was just pointed out to me, there's a minor correction on the very last sentence of this. The proposed fee is under a lump sum, not a time and materials, but the cost is correct. I'm sorry about that.
Very good. All right. So I would ask that you withdraw your motion, because then we'd make another motion as amended.
That's me. I withdraw my motion.
You withdraw it right now.
Done.
Please. Okay. All right. So there is not a motion. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to approve as amended by our Director of Public Works.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Item 13.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 13 is request council to authorize the city manager to certify a proposed millage rate of 4.05 to the Pinellas County Property Appraiser for fiscal year 2021-2022. City maintained a millage rate of 4.75 mils in history back from 1988 to 1997. From 1998 to 2005, the millage rate was lowered 4.65. In 2006, millage rate was 4.6. In 2007, it was 4.0722, and in 2008 through the current year, it was lowered again to 4.05. The current year, the taxable assessed value of the city increased from the prior year. The increase in current taxable values results in a rollback rate of 3.9680. The city is proposing a millage rate of 4.05 for the 14th consecutive year. In order for the property appraiser to prepare required notices on proposed property taxes, known as trim notices, with each will be mailed to property owners by August 23rd of 2021. We must return the certification of taxable value to the property appraiser by August 3rd, 2021. The council may adopt a lower millage rate based on decisions at budget work sessions or as a result of public hearings on the budget, which will be conducted in September. However, the council may not adopt a higher millage than the rate now being certified to the property appraiser.
All right. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? A motion and second. Discussion? 2008, pretty good.
Yep.
14 years in a row.
Yeah, all right. Since you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Item 14.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 14 is request council approval to renew our medical and dental benefits with Cigna Healthcare for fiscal year 21-22. In June 2019, the city's benefits consultant, the Gehring Group, coordinated a comprehensive bid process for employee insurance benefits. On August 6th of 2019, City Council awarded the bid for the city's medical, dental, and vision benefit to Cigna Health for fiscal year 19-20. Cigna Health presented a favorable renewal for medical insurance for 2021. City Council approved the renewal at Cigna Health on July 21st, 2020. In March of 2021, and again in May of 2021, the Gehring Group conducted claims experience meetings with city staff. Based on the results of the challenging year we had for insurance claims, renewal projections indicated the city could expect to receive a substantial premium increase for the Cigna employee health insurance plans. However, the Gehring Group has aggressively negotiated the renewal rate down to 9% while maintaining the current benefit structure and allowing council or administration to make no changes to the medical schedule of benefits. For fiscal year 21-22, the Cigna dental plan is also due to be renewed. Cigna has offered a 5% increase. The attached executive summary in your packet incorporates all employer-provided benefits reflecting the overall increase, and staff recommends approval. Sean Fleming, senior consulting, and I'm not sure I'm even getting your title right because he keeps getting promoted, but he's been our consultant for a long time and He's in the audience to answer any questions council may have.
All right, the chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second.
Second.
Second?
Yep.
Discussion? Any questions?
I think so.
All right, well, you gotta have healthcare. It's important. Gotta have health. All right. Since you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion passes. Item 15.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 15, thanks, Sean. Award contract for 2021-001 RFQ, professional services for local agency program administration and construction engineering and inspection for the Oldsmar Trail Phase 6 project to Stanley Consultants Incorporated. The Oldsmar Trail Phase 6 project, which is also known as the Douglas Trail, is intended to build a multi-use pedestrian cycling trail. This segment of the project was designed by Cardno Incorporated and will include constructing a half-mile trail on the north side of Douglas from Stevens Avenue to Racetrack Road, and it will convert the existing open ditch drainage system on the north side to a closed pipe system. Project will also include relocation of some of the existing city-owned utilities on the north side of Douglas Road as necessary as a result of the construction of this project. The project is partially funded by the Federal Highway Administration local agency program, or what, as we know it as LAP, and it's administered by the Florida Department of Transportation, FDOT. Therefore, third-party construction engineering inspection is a requirement of the grant. In November 2020, Council approved the advertising of the RFQ for professional LAP administration and construction engineering and inspection services for the project. Statement of qualifications were received from 6 FDOT pre-qualified firms. Selection committee of staff from Public Works, Leisure Services, and Administrative Services reviewed all the proposals and ranked Stanley Consultants Incorporated as the most qualified proposal. At the February 16th, 2021 meeting, Council provided authorization for the city manager to initiate negotiations for the requested professional services. Stanley Consultants will provide professional services to assist city staff, the administration of the FDOT LAP funding compliance, as well as construction engineering and inspection oversight of the construction contract on a time and materials basis. Are we short, Ann? Thank you. In a not to exceed amount of $250,786. Per the terms of the city's LAP agreement for the project, $81,556 of the $250,000 contract will be funded by the Federal Highway Administration. The project is budgeted in Fund 302 for an amount of $1,389,000, and funds are currently available for these services. Staff recommends approval.
All right, Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
Move.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Discussion?
Excited.
Yeah, be nice to get that
Let's
done.
get that done.
I can't tell you how many people I see riding on bikes and really nobody walking because there's no sidewalks right now up and down that roadway.
It's dangerous.
It's a lot of people are commuting that way to get to work, so.
Yeah.
All right, since you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Anything else, sir?
Yes, sir.
That's it? All right, City Clerk?
I don't have anything.
We'll go on to the council items. Let's see, what do we have next? Oh, let's go to 18.
Yeah.
Rule. All right, item 17, select the next city manager. As you all know, the charter requires that the city council hire the city manager. At our last meeting, we had a discussion in terms of what our different options were. The option that we selected to pursue was to promote from within. And so at this time, the chair will entertain a motion to make Felicia Donnelly our next city manager. And in that motion, we would also direct our city attorney to negotiate an agreement with her.
So moved.
I have a motion. I have a second. Discussion. Not a word?
Excellent choice.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I think we all feel really, really good about this choice. She certainly has demonstrated the ability to communicate well with our citizens, to go above and beyond. I think that staff respects her. I know our current city manager thinks very highly of her. And yeah, so?
She's all right.
She's not bad. And so I think we're very, very fortunate to be able to make this appointment. It's funny when you talk and see what's going on in some other cities and the way that they're struggling really to have a good plan. And here we sit, and it's very fortunate. And so, and I know if Katie was here, based on her comments at the last meeting, she'd she'd be unanimous on it as well. And so, any other comments?
I just want to make sure that we all understand that this motion doesn't appoint her immediately.
Correct.
That.
Thank you, Tom.
Because otherwise Al would be shifting seats. So we'll come back to you with an agreement that has a start date.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's why the motion was the next city manager, not tonight's city manager.
The new city.
New city manager.
Quick question.
Yeah.
So Tom, how long before? Like two meetings, 3 meetings out? How long would you say?
We already have the agreement like 99% completed. And we did that a couple of weeks ago. So it can come back to you as soon as,
We have
get
to,
directed to.
and we also got to work with Al. And some of you will recall that the message that Al put out was that it's an intent to make his last day at the end of this year. I know we said earlier, as city manager, he would then stay for 6 months as a special projects consultant. I believe that's the title.
Manager, I think.
Manager, and continue on. When that transition, it's the same thing that we did, frankly, with Bruce and Al, when we had that overlap. And so there's changes that need to happen to his agreement. And I will say this, that our city attorney has asked that I work with him on the negotiations part with Felicia, so that we're not doing that. I mean, the contract will come back here for final approval, of course, but just so that those kind of back and forth discussions probably are not as appropriate going through public counsel, but the final product will, of course, come back here. And so if everyone's good with that.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, very good. Sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion passes. Congratulations. And I know this isn't goodbye, but I do feel compelled just to thank Al for all the years of service. This next few months are gonna go by very fast. And so you are greatly appreciated. And I think that you working with Felicia the way you had, I don't know if this was something that you envisioned all along, but it's really a testament to making sure that the city's doing well after you're in Tennessee and taking it easy, playing golf. Gonna play a lot of golf?
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
Street hockey.
Or street hockey. There you go. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyhow, congratulations. All right, next item on the agenda, item 18, appoint voting delegate for the Florida League of Cities Annual Conference. Now, I understand that, there's a tradition that the newest council member goes and holds the stick.
Yes.
It's the youngest.
It's the youngest, is that what it is? I believe it's going to be this time around.
Youngest council.
And of course, Councilmember Graber is unable to attend the conference.
Right.
And so I would suggest, since our vice mayor was given the task last year, but didn't go because of COVID, that we give him that honor and privilege for this upcoming conference. What do you guys think?
I make a motion to approve Andrew.
A motion is made to approve Andrew. Do I have a second?
I second a motion to
Andrew,
approve
you're
Andrew.
gonna love it.
Yes, it's a lot of fun. It's
It's a
good.
lot.
Can't wait to serve in the full capacity this
Lot of
time
work.
instead of in front of a laptop.
It's a lot of work. All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item 19, approve excused absence of Councilmember Gannett for the July tonight's meeting.
tonight.
Yeah, all right, so the chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. Discussion? You're gonna be evil.
No, I just wanted to, pregnant pause just to make sure. But
Yeah,
we're
there you
good.
go.
That's
Very
fine.
All right, any discussion? Sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Item number 20, scheduled work session for fiscal year 2021-2022, operational budget. It sounds like the only day that really worked was Monday, August 16th, is that correct?
Yes.
At 4 o'clock? All right, so I guess we go ahead and get that on the schedule, all right?
Yep.
All right, item 21, approve moving the September 21st, 2021 city council meeting to Wednesday, September 22nd, 2021. Al, you want to just comment on why we end up doing that every year?
Part of the trim process, trim standing for truth and millage, the county school board and county commission workshops are not allowed to conflict with municipalities because you pay taxes to both entities, or in this case, all three entities. They want to allow the citizens the opportunity to go to all of the hearings. So if you have a meeting on the same day or night, you would not normally be able to attend both. So municipalities are lower on the totem pole there, so we are statutorily required to make sure we don't conflict with either a school board hearing or a county hearing when it relates to the budget.
Very good. All right, the chair will entertain a motion to approve. So moved. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Item 22, council comments. I'm going to start with Councilmember Siraki tonight.
All right, couple things. Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to start out by saying that last week, Tuesday, the Upper Tampa Bay Educational Foundation, we held a fundraiser over at Jack Willie's, and Jason was there. I was the guest bartender, and we raised over $300 for the Educational Foundation.
That's
for the
outstanding.
chamber. Yep. So Jack Willie's gave us a percentage of their sales for the night, so it was very successful.
Great.
I also stopped over with the mayor at the Oldsmar Hurricane Expo, which was very well attended, and I'm sure you'll have more to say about that because I had to leave. Last week, Friday, I attended the FLC Policy Committee meeting, my second one, for the Utilities, Natural Resources, and Public Works Policy Committee meeting. And our priorities for 2022 are municipal tree protection. And our second one is PFABs. I don't know if anybody's heard of PFABs, but back in the 50s, plastics, degrading plastics started getting into our aquifer water system. Well, now it has become an environmental hazard. It's becoming a very serious issue with our water supply, and different municipalities are having issues with these PFABs, this plastic in the water system. Something new I'm just learning about. It's all new to me. If you remember last meeting, I mentioned that it was my first meeting we were talking about them, but it's very interesting stuff. And that was a great thing, and we're going to finish that up at the conference in August, where you can't attend. You're going to miss a lot of fun.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And then last but not least, I want to just mention that I wanted to do this, Mayor. I'm running for mayor for the city of Oldsmar, the family and friends.
Are you?
Yes, I am.
Wow.
I'm honored to excited to announce that I'll be running for the mayor. In 2018, I set my goal to become the mayor of the city of Oldsmar. My intentions have not changed. My years of serving on the city council have been filled with many great learning experiences and exciting accomplishments. I want to thank city staff, the city council for all they do for our city. I will stay focused on building a downtown area which Oldsmar can be proud of, support all projects that maintain a safe and vibrant community. For the past 12 years of working with the people of Oldsmar have been a most rewarding and educational experience of my life. I am very grateful. I am humbled to serve the citizens of Oldsmar. I want to thank the residents and businesses for all their support. I look forward to speaking with you each in the coming months. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you so much.
Very good. I'm glad I called on you first.
I'm glad you did too.
Councilmember Graber.
Thank you. Recently, we made a push, city staff made a push to make sure that folks knew they could sign up for meeting notifications. And so it's listed on the website. I believe the Vice Mayor and Councilmember Gannon also shared it on Facebook. It's one of the things that when I was learning, and as much as I could to begin to run for office, I lived on myoldsmar.com. At some point, somebody on staff put me on this list. I didn't even ask, but I had shown such interest in everything that was going on. I just started getting agendas sent to me, which I loved. But just all you have to do is register for it. Put your email address in there, and every single agenda will be sent to you. If there's any questions that staff can answer, if you want to send through council, we might send it up to staff. We're happy to do it. I think I can speak for everybody on that. Our email addresses are on the website. Our cell phone numbers are on our business cards. But just so everybody knows, and just so it's an extra layer of notice, the Veterans Advisory Board meets on Monday, July 26th at 4. Board of Adjustment has a meeting this month on July 28th at 6. Charter Review Committee has a meeting on Monday, August 2nd at 5:30. All those meetings will take place here, and there's open forums at the beginning of them all. And if you can't get there, they're all available on the city's YouTube channel. So I just wanted to make sure that maybe it'll take me using council comments to mention the meetings that are going to occur between our council meetings, and that's fine. I'm happy to do it. I just want to let everybody know how imperative it was, whoever's decision it was to put me on that list, how immensely it helped me learn all of these things and be not only involved, but be able to develop relationships with everyone. I was able to do that before I got up here. So that's all I had, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to flip a couple things to kind of piggyback off of what Councilmember Graber just shared. It was touched on in open forum tonight, and it's been touched on in social media, as well as probably prior meetings from tonight about communication, transparency. I feel like maybe not right at this time in regards to the downtown project, but potentially sometime soon when there's more of a concrete plan, when we know we're at the negotiation deal is on our doorstep, to give the citizens an opportunity to really see that. I mean, if we get the type of turnout that we got tonight for the woods, granted, that's a project or an issue that's affecting one neighborhood versus a project of this scale that's going to really affect the entire city. I feel like having that venue to just be strictly focused on that, even if no decisions are made that night, just the means to be proactive and go above and beyond the bare minimum notice requirements to really let people know this is what's going on. We welcome your feedback. Have the developer there if they are interested. So I just would like to see that potentially be considered when the time is right. I don't think that's right now or in the next coming months. In terms of communication as well with meetings, I had asked Assistant City Manager Felicia Donnelly prior to the meeting about the signs that we have out along the roadways right now. If by chance, if it's not that much of an inconvenience, can they be altered or updated on the nights that there's a council meeting? Just so it's out there, it's one extra, hey, quick flash, council meeting tonight. Doesn't have to have any bit of the subject, myoldsmar.com with it. Just something that's simple and a means to let people know that doesn't require, I hope, not a whole lot of effort. Next, I wanted to thank city staff and again, Felicia and all of everybody for the response to Tropical Storm / Hurricane Elsa. The call I got from Felicia was like, we're ready in case things do get bad. Obviously, they really didn't get bad much at all. I think it was a lot worse further to the south of us. So I really just applaud them for being ready in light of it not being a serious event this time, but it just shows we are ready in the event that something drastic does come our way in the future. So thank you for that. I have my next noise abatement task force meeting tomorrow. I wanted to give a quick shout out to Kay and Dallas Rose, who have been instrumental in kind of rounding up or being the voice and leadership on the citizen side, getting the people that are affected by the noise that is coming from planes flying in and out of St. Pete Clearwater Airport. I know that it's a long and arduous process to get any sort of flight path change. There's not going to be any overnight or immediate relief, but want to let them know, as well as anybody else listening, that we're going to work on it as best we can. Somebody's going to be affected by planes coming in. They can't come in at dive bombing PIE. So I really hope that there might be something we can achieve in the future, but we're going to be working on it. And then finally, I just wanted to thank, I was able to host the mayor as well as Councilmember Saraki and Al and Felicia at a groundbreaking ceremony we had last week, was that? For Microlumen, my employer. It's just really exciting to be working for a company that's growing and doing well in the city and giving back to the community. So I just wanted to say thank you all for coming by. It really meant a lot to me to be able to show you around, because I get hammered all the time, like, oh, it's the vice mayor working at Microlumen. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. It really meant a lot.
Excellent. All right, I have a few items. Is that it? You done?
I'm done.
All right, I have a few items. I'm going to make a more formal announcement in the future, but I feel it's probably appropriate timing to say that I have filed to run for re-election for mayor, and stay tuned. You'll hear more about that. But we've got a lot of work to do between now and then, right? Right.
Sure do.
We do, and it's early. It's really early in the process.
It'll be fun.
But
We're gonna have fun.
it's an early, seemed to start a little early this year, so why not, okay? I too want to thank the staff for all their work and preparation that they did for ELSA. We got very lucky on that. I don't know that our citizens completely realize how much effort our staff puts in, the training that they go through, the commitment they make, the directors to stay at Nielsen when we activate to that level. But they're on staff, they're ready to go, and so we're very grateful to the team, sir. The 21-22 budget document looks terrific, looks great. I started reading mine today. It was like, wow, they always do such a good job with it. And that item, is it already online yet?
Yes.
It is?
Well, it's not on the website, it's on our internet.
Well, it will be. Eventually, it will be online.
ADA slows that down because we have to convert things to text only.
All right. Well,
Can't
it's a
just throw it
terrific document, and I know they put a lot of work into it, so I just wanted to say thank you. The Hurricane Expo, as Dan alluded to, went great. A lot of turnout for the first one. And Mike from Mike's weather page did a terrific job. He was actually quite entertaining, I thought, in his presentation. You know, our local guy that has millions of viewers. It's crazy. You know, I told the story where I learned about his page when I was down visiting my sister in St. Croix. And they're like, oh, we use this, you know, he's from Oldsmar. I looked up his address, and the address he uses is Oriel's Park. So, in any event, everybody did a great job on that. I do want to just take a minute and look, promoting the town center is very important, right? It is a critical asset for the city. It will be even more critical in the future when it's actually there. I will comment, though, you know, this perception or these comments being made to somewhat suggest that it's not being, you know, properly talked about. I agree with not only the town center, but essentially with a lot of things. I wish there were more and more tools to communicate. We try to do every tool that we can get our hands on. I mean, that's part of the Coffee with the Mayor. It's like 20 minutes of a summary of what happened tonight, you know? I mean, though all those different things we try to do. And when we put it on an agenda, there's people come and speak to it. I mean, that's what these meetings are for. These are public meetings for that. And that item has been on an agenda almost 50 times since it's first started. In the last 2.5 years, it's been on an agenda about 25 times. Agenda, whether it's for a council meeting or a workshop that the public's invited to. So we encourage people to come out and share their feelings on it. We don't have a final plan that we're voting on yet. You know, so everybody understand that. What we've got is something that we all voted for to send to the city manager and the negotiations team to try to go vet it out. And what we come back with, ultimately, we will have something. And that's probably the time, the perfect time, to get even more input, right? Because it's not final. It's not final, it's subject to change and so on and so forth. So I know that our local reporter here, I think in the last 2 years, he's done 8 stories on it, and that gets mailed to everyone's home. I was joking because I said I saw Jeff riding his bicycle, throwing papers off the side, but that's not true. That's not true. I didn't see him. But in any event, we encourage people. And so we try to put it online, we share it. I think everybody shared some kind of version of what's out there right now. And it's, we'll have more discussion on that at the next meeting, clearly. But I just want to make a point of saying that. And people's input is not only welcome, but it's encouraged. And that's quite frankly how we got to where we got now. I mean, the elements that are in that plan came from our citizens. They didn't just come from the people sitting up here. we talked about them, we campaigned on them, we've hammered that point. So, I mean, that's not, it might be new to some people who are new to the process, but I can tell you right now, anybody who will listen to me, I will talk about the town center until they politely sneak away from me. I mean, ask my wife. I mean, so in any event, so it's a subject that we expect to have a lot more discussion about, but we're just not there yet, frankly, okay? All right, item number 23, approval of the tentative agenda for August 3rd, 2021. Does anybody wish to pull anything? All right, sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor?
Need a motion.
Oh, that would help. I'll entertain a motion to approve. I got a motion. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion.
I have one thing I want to mention before I get. I was at the Florida League of Cities this past weekend. That's all I talked about was Mike's weather page.
Oh, no kidding.
I wanted to bring that up real quick. Miami-Dade, they love him.
Yeah.
The whole area thinks he's great. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, that's cool. Very cool. All right. Did we get the tentative agenda approved?
Yep.
We did, all right. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Doesn't require a vote. We're adjourned.